For weeks now, as the pandemic crushes our economy, I've been highlighting companies that are putting people over profits. We're in a national crisis, and I think it's worth celebrating businesses that keep paying their employees even when there's no work for them to do. I think big businesses can do a lot to ease the pain from this pandemic, which brings me to Goodly. That's a San Francisco-based startup that gives companies a way to help their employees pay down student loan debt as a formal employment benefit, like healthcare, like a 401k plan. Even before COVID-19 came along, we had massive problem with student loans in this country. Education just keeps getting more and more expensive, and wages haven't kept up. Just a couple of months ago, Goodly was pitching itself as a way for employers to differentiate themselves in a real tight labor market. Now the labor market's a disaster. But Goodly's got a good new opening here. The huge $2.2 trillion rescue package, including some language that makes it more advantageous for companies to give student loan benefits to their employees. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually student loan payment benefits become as ubiquitous as health insurance benefits or retirement plans. But don't take it from me. Let's talk to Greg Poulin. He's the co-founder and CEO of Goodly, to learn more about his service and what it means for people struggling under the weight of student loans. Mr. Poulin, welcome to Mad Money.
Hey, Jim. Thanks so much for having me, and hello from San Francisco.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Greg. Can you give us because you've not been on the show and you're small and private, give us an introduction to the things that you've been doing.
Yeah, absolutely. With Goodly, we work directly with employers to help them set up student loan repayment programs. So as you mentioned, it's pretty similar to a 401k in that we allow employers to make payments directly towards their employees' student loan debt. So the way that our system will work is we'll partner directly with employers to help customize a monthly contribution plan, which is typically between $100 to $200 per participant per month. And then we'll integrate seamlessly with their existing workflow. So plug in directly with their payroll and HR systems in a process that takes about 10 minutes for employers to get up and running. And then we can help to manage everything downstream of that. So we'll onboard all the employees, verify their student loans, and then on a monthly basis, we facilitate those employer contributions. But one of the really unique features of our platform is that we take all of those employer contributions and we apply it as a secondary payment. So if you're an employer, any contributions that you make go directly towards paying down the principal of the student loan and helping your staff pay off their student loans faster and save on the compounding interest. And the unique thing about our system is that by taking this approach, we can actually help the average employee on Goodly become debt-free about 30% faster than they otherwise would.
That's great. Now, how about what do you think of what the provisions for student loan relief in the CARES Act?
Absolutely. And one really critical provision within the CARES Act is that it allows employers to make contributions towards their employees' student loans tax-free for the first time. And prior to the CARES Act, there were about 8% of U.S.-based employers that were already providing these benefits, but it was considered a taxable benefit for the employer, and it can often be a blocker or a barrier to employers implementing these systems. So with passage of the CARES Act, employers can now actually contribute up to $5,250 per year towards their employees' student loans that will be done on a tax-free basis. So those employer contributions are going to go just that much further in terms of helping their employees become debt-free that much faster as well.
Okay, so what kind of companies take you up on? Is it all tech?
Yeah, so being based in Silicon Valley, of course, we work with a ton of tech companies, a lot of startups. But in terms of the employers that we work with, it's a really diverse range of clients. So we have everything from professional services, where you're going to see a lot of law firms, as well as other medical practices and folks that do have advanced degrees that often require you to take out a lot more student loan debt. But we also have a lot of employers that you might be surprised to think that their staff do have high levels of student loan debt. So one of the largest cohorts of employers that we work with are nonprofits across the country, where their employees typically have to have at least a bachelor's degree, often an advanced degree, to fill a lot of these positions. And then they're typically taking out significant amounts of student loan debt to finance their education. But we also work with a number of manufacturing companies, along with everything from retail. We work with a number of Ben & Jerry's franchise locations to everything in between that. So unfortunately, student loan debt is something that affects employees of all walks of life, and they've been coming to Goodly to help support their employees that are struggling to make student loan payments as well.
One last question, Greg. I was with a bunch of people who are involved with higher ed this weekend in a Zoom party, admittedly, and they all talked about how if you don't go to campus, it's going to be very hard for some of these exclusive private schools to get $80,000. Do you think that there's some change coming in how people go to school if we are not able to go to campus?
Yeah, absolutely. And what we've been seeing from higher education institutions across the country is that they are transitioning to platforms like Zoom Of course, all major education platforms are going remote both for the spring, and that might likely continue over into the fall as well. So there's certainly significant changes coming to both how, of course, higher education is administered. And so it'll be interesting to see how higher education institutes continue to adapt to the COVID crisis and how that will impact both the cost of higher education and, of course, within that, the amount of student loan debt that folks have to borrow to be able to attain a college degree as well.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be tough on some of these schools. I really do, because staying at home and paying 80 G's, I don't know. But anyway, Greg Poulin, co-founder and CEO of Goodly, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks so much.
All right, there's a novel way, right? Wouldn't you like to do that? I wish I had that when I got out of school. Mad Money's back after the break.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @JimCramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Kramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.